The Minnesota Vikings were shredded by the octogenarian Aaron Rodgers week 1, US Bank Stadium, in a 43-34 beatdown that was not as close as the final score would even indicate, right? And Rodgers was flawless. He was really good. 364 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, a 127.5 quarterback rating, a 96 PFF grade, and a partridge in a friggin' pear tree, right? Packers rolled out to a 4-0 start before being woodshedded by the Buccaneers 38-10. Now, we had said when the Packers started out 4-0, who had they really played? Yes, that include the Vikings week 1. Self-burn, those are rare. And Rodgers against the Bucs had one of the worst games of his career. And of course, we couldn't even enjoy it because the Vikings had just gotten destroyed by the Falcons, but great. But he was 16-35 for completing 45.7% of his passes, 160 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 picks, including a pick 6, almost 2 pick 6s, and also a very horrible 4.57 yards per attempt. His 35.4 quarterback rating was the lowest since week 15 of the 2014 season, when he put up a 34.3 in a 24-17 loss at the Buffalo Bills. PFF, who normally slobbers over Rodgers, gave him a 44.7 grade, which is less ideal. And yes, the Bucs do have one of the best defenses in the National Football League. They're third in points. They're number 1 in DVOA. So I get it. It's like, well, of course the Vikings could beat the Packers if they had the Bucs defense. I get it. Spare me. And yes, it will be even tougher this week, getting pressure on Rodgers. Hopefully he'll make mistakes without Yannick the freaking Ngakoue. But what are a couple takeaways from what the Bucs did to Rodgers that the Vikings could cut and paste on Sunday? So what did the Bucs do? Number 1, they played a lot of 2-deep safeties. They sat in coverage against Aaron Rodgers, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, allegedly. And it caused Rodgers to do a lot of short throws, a lot of checkdowns, and take the underneath a lot. Now, 2 deep, it's just to simplify it, it's like not moving your back row in checkers. It really limits what your opponent can do. And Rodgers, you could tell in the middle of the game, he got a little frustrated. You know, they got out to 10-0 lead, and then they gave up 38 unanswered points. 7 of their final drives ended in punts. So he's like, and a lot of Rodgers' big plays over the years has been against a single high safety, where he moves them with his eyes or gives a little pump. He's able to zip a rocket to an open receiver. But Aaron Rodgers' arm strength, it isn't what it used to be, right? And a lot of the times, it would start in a single high look for the Bucs, and then it would drop into that 2 deep. So Rodgers would be licking his lips a la Spice Adams, and then all of a sudden, you got bang, 2 deep safeties, and everything is mucked up in the back end. So he's not able to launch those rocket balls. And they primarily rush 4. Occasionally 5, but pretty sparingly. It does help when your front 4 gets you 21 pressures and 4 sacks, but a lot of them were coverage sacks. A lot of them were everything was taken away downfield when they dropped 7, sometimes 6, and then all of a sudden, the pressure got home. It's absolutely crazy. And the 2 picks were nothing revolutionary for the Bucs. The pick 6 to Auburn Tiger Jamel Dean was Rodgers staring down Adams and throwing a lazy ball outside the numbers off his back foot. It does not have the same tangy zip of Miracle Whip that it used to, and I don't think that Rodgers realizes it yet. And the second pick, Rodgers recognizes that it's man across the board with the single high safety, so he checks to a quick slant to Adams on the backside. Great coverage by Auburn grad Carlton Davis. What up, War Eagle? JPP gets a finger on it, and then it gets tipped, and it's an interception. Almost ran back. Towards the end of the game, the Packers sort of gave up. Sure, so that does factor in. They pared down the playbook. They ran the ball a lot, but also 7 of the Packers' final 8 drives ended in punts. But in the middle of the game, when Rodgers was trying to get back into the game in catch-up mode, they couldn't. They absolutely could not. So what are some takeaways that the Vikings can incorporate on Sunday to help try and shock the world up in Green Bay as 6.5-point underdogs? So number 1, as weak as it sounds, I think you just have to sit in coverage. Rodgers has seen every single blitz in the world. He gets to play Mike Zimmer twice a year, even though Zimmer has historically gotten the better of Rodgers at times. But if you send 5 consistently, he's going to burn you. If you send more than that, he's going to burn you even more. And also, with all the young cornerbacks on the field, I think giving them as much help over the top is going to be crucial, especially with Devontae Adams looking to be healthy and back, even though he's not as good as Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen. And beyond Adams, they simply do not have enough receiving talent to beat bodies in coverage. They don't. Because singled up Now, yes, singled up against a rookie cornerback, making their first NFL game, or Mike Hughes or Holton Hill. Sure, MVS and Alan Lazard could do some things week 1, but MVS is whatever. Alan Lazard is not going to play. Their only other receiving threat is Robert Toyan, the tight end, who's really more of a receiver. They're simply not talented to beat safety help or 7 in a zone. Besides Adams, they're not. But since the Vikings do have a history of throwing the kitchen sink at Rodgers, what you can do is you can show a lot of blitz. You can show a lot of single high safety, a lot of man across the board. You can drop. That's exactly what the Bucs did. Press man that drops into 2-deep zone, and that's going to frustrate Rodgers. Also, with former Vikings defensive backs coach Jerry Gray on the Packers, which I think was really instrumental on getting a lot of inside information on Holton Hill and Mike Hughes, as well as Mike Zimmer's tendencies. You need to break from what you've always done. Break from what you've done before, break from what you did week 1, and then also breaking blitz tendencies. Of course, Zimmer loves his double A-gap mug look on third down. We love it as well. We love the aggression. Sure, show it, but then bail out of it. And then at halftime, go back to it in spots, break your old tendencies, and then break your new tendencies that you showed in the first half. Then also, I think it's going to be important to have Harrison near the line and then drop into coverage. Even though the Vikings will have a tough time stopping the run, whether Aaron Jones plays or not. Jamal Williams, A.J. Dillon, it's whatever. So it does make sense to have Harrison down in the box, but I think that ball hawk Harrison Smith needs to show up for this game. He has 5 career picks against the Packers in 15 games, and I think that 22 and 41 need to be sitting back quite a bit in coverage just to help out the young kids underneath. And also, you should be able to get some heat on him without blitzing, even though, yes, without Yannick, Afadi is racking up the pressures. Have some of these young guys step up, Wanham, James Lynch. Someone's got to be able to get home because the Packers' offensive line is a mess, as well as all-pro left tackle David Bakhtiari missed against Houston because he got digged up in the Bucs game, and his availability is suspect, pending on what happens in practice this week. But perhaps break your tendencies even more and try and confuse some of these young offensive linemen. Throw a lot of stunts at them. Throw in some zone blitz concepts. Don't let them know who's coming. No one better on staff than Dom Capers. That's how he made his bones. Plus, he knows the Packers better than anyone on the staff, so use him as an asset here. So I'm dropping into coverage like the Vikings did in some high leverage spots week 1. It could have worked. So from this play, Vikings are in Tampa 2 here. Eric Kendricks screaming down the middle of the field, covering the deep middle, and then the Vikings have 2 deep safeties, and they rush 4, and it's good coverage. They would have had this thing cold, except Adams sneaks in for a touchdown front corner of the end zone because Anthony Harris stumbled. So I think the Vikings do have the capability to shock the world because everyone's counting the Vikings out. 1-5, no Yannick. Aaron Rodgers is a bad man. Because congratulations on shredding the Texans. Cool, awesome, good times. But I guess who also shred the Texans? The Vikings. No big deal. So I think that the Vikings can incorporate a lot of what the Bucs did to Aaron Rodgers because, that's something that the national media is completely ignoring because they talked about, Tom Brady had like 160 yards passing that game, right? So they're completely ignoring the true narrative that Aaron Rodgers plays well against bad defenses still, but when a team plays coverage on him, it's like, he cannot beat you with his arm with those pinpoint rocket balls anymore because it ain't there. He has lost his fastball. Make him prove it on Sunday instead of gambling with these young kids. And I think the Vikings could sneak out of Lambeau with the win. And then go 2-14, but I'll still consider the season a success if you beat the Packers one time. But your thoughts, game plan, Packers, let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support that work, post something in the Venmo. But until next time, Skol, production value.